ago.
No one liked what we were doing when we started. That's the thing. And
the Russian army had these huge lights when the enemy was attacking towards them. They were blasting this huge reflector. So
I'm at this point in my life where I'm just like, fuck all that shit. It's all bullshit.
It's like anti-piano.
It's avant-garde. It's cool.
I just wanted you to see where you are. Yeah, and the dimensions of this place. So this was a factory built before the Soviet Union. And then the Soviet Union took over it. And this is a place where they were making electronic components for the army and light projects. Because the Russian army had these huge lights when the enemy was attacking towards them. They were blasting this huge reflector. So, for example, those projects were done here, and other projects. Like when you will go to Red Square, you will see on top of the Red Square this red star. It's very famous. Like all those big light projects and electronic projects were done here.
Wow.
And in the same style as what's happening in Russia nowadays. All these relics from the Soviet Union, now they're occupied by people like us. Not occupied because we rent this place and stuff.
Yeah.
And so nowadays in here, this is a hub where there are like film studios, recording studios, like art studios. Cool. One recording studio is down there, and the second one is up here where we're gonna write. You arrived to Russia, and maybe you had some stereotypes, and you saw the reality. Can you talk about it with the few hours you have been here?
I was pretty sure that, I wasn't sure about the border, I wasn't sure about the other things, but I was pretty sure that at the show it would be Dead Meadow fans, it would be people, musicians, people that like the world all over. We've traveled a lot, so I didn't think it was going to be anything drastically different. And usually the people at our shows are friendly and warm, and that's how it was.
Were they?
Yes, very warm.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, very
I was
nice.
saying that music is a country. I mean, and
Totally.
then it's so like you can swap like regions, and then you meet the exact same people.
Definitely.
Like, I'm from Venezuela, you're from Russia, you're from America, and we all kind of share same values.
Yeah, or even weirder when you think about like, you're here with your crew in this scene here, but you probably connect to a lot of people of that same scene around the world, but then there's others millions of people in this city or any cities that you have like no, it's like a little secret society of musicians.
Yes,
and
yes,
like,
and it's
artists.
And you're instantly compatible. It's like you sit down and it's like, all right, we share values, we share
And you'll
ideas.
see the same people for years. If we come back, we'll probably see a number of the same people. In cities that we've been to so many times over the years, you're like, oh, what's up? You make friends everywhere.
Look how being a band that has been active for so many years, is there like a very big difference on, we're talking about this country, which is music, right? Has this country changed a lot in the last 20 years in your eyes? Or you find yourself like you could be transported 10 years ago and it was the same in terms of feeling? And...
maybe 10 years ago, but definitely within the last 20, I feel like the biggest change is that it's a lot harder to make a living. It's so much more important on touring now. You know, before you could still, you know, in the 1999, 2000, you still sold records because it wasn't everything wasn't Spotify, everything wasn't YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a different thing. So I think bands are a lot more that you have to really get out and travel.
But there's also more like more festivals and things these days, and like specific to this music scene, like everywhere around the world, and it really creates this like kind of like these comic book convention sort of like world, you know, like everyone collects and meets up again, you know. Like we just did like Desert Fest in Belgium, and there was like people from here, people from all over the place, and everyone kind of knows each other, and they all meet up, buy T-shirts, and watch the bands, and that didn't exist. That didn't exist a lot of years ago.
No one liked what we were doing when we started. That's the thing, and I think that like the whole
they didn't understand
psych thing or psychedelic thing that, you know, and this is the term that we were using to refer to ourselves, I think, at the time. That happened, which is good for Dead Meadow because, you know, we get to play these types of festivals and stuff. Like there was nothing like that when we started, at all.
It was either a metal show or like a punk in the vein of like 90s, like Fugazi type bands. You know? And we'd play with either of those shows, and you know, or we'd go into it, it'd be one or the other. It was always kind of a little bit off. So there was like he said, a scene grew up around us.
So is psychedelic rock getting more popular like in recent years, in 5 years, 10 years?
I don't know. It goes. I mean, I feel like Dead Meadow continues to grow, and I feel like names change and drop away. I don't know. You know, and even the psychedelic rock, we never even. I don't know how much we even fit with a lot of those bands. We kind of just do what we do, you know. And it's cool that now there is a scene that has more bands in it that I like, you know.
Yes.
So
when you play, do you feel a different reaction from people, as if a psychedelic culture or a wave of music of this style already grew up a seed, or do you feel the same?
I do feel I'm excited too that even though we've been a band for 20 years, there'll be people that have known us from day one, but there'll also be people that just heard it, or younger kids that are just getting into it.
Yes.
So in that regard, I think it's really cool that it's not just like, oh, it's this retro scene of like, oh, Dead Meadow's coming back around. There's still people that are young kids have actively.
I think that this is just popped into my mind. I think that the fact that it's called psychedelic rock just makes it not feel retro to people. Like, it's just like, it doesn't feel like there's something that is emulating something that happened before. It's just emulating a state of mind, which is the psychedelic experience.
But
which is a good thing.
Yeah, but like any terms, you know, once you start calling it psychedelic, we play psychedelic rock, and then it just becomes a sound to copy, to ape, you know, like it did in the 60s too. It was like, oh, there were bands that were actually psychedelic, there were bands that were like, you know, had the paisley shirts and
yeah. Right. Are you? I mean, I'm under the impression that I don't like retro thinking people in the sense like things were better before. Where do you stand there? I think that music always evolves forward positively because it's just moving forward. Maybe you're gonna find bad examples to it, but how do you feel about it?
I enjoy more music from the past, but I don't want to be a retro band.
Yes.
You know, you want to be of your time and try to do something that's cool, that takes from that, is influenced by that.
Yeah, it's tough too because that particular time was kind of like a certain renaissance level when it came to like rock and roll. Like so many of the bands that came out of that particular time would forever be the bands that some level, anywhere new stuff is always going to emulate it at some level. You know, I mean, like that was the time of Stones and Beatles and stuff like that. Things that would ever, you know, and Bob Dylan, you know, change the world of rock and roll.
I think there's definitely people in LA, probably everywhere, that do want to like. I don't know, they think they're living that lifestyle. Like they'll wear like the striped paisley pants, which is fine or whatever, but and have the haircut and everything. But I'm not like that, obviously. Like
and your music doesn't feel like that. Again, it feels like a recreation of the psychedelic state of mind. I mean, it's just like when people say psychedelic state of mind, it's easily associated with just like psychedelic drugs as such. Which is, I mean, the psychedelic state of mind is a way more deeper, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're reaching for a feeling. You're trying to capture some kind of feeling. And I think we were fortunate, too, because it's coming out of, like, a punk rock scene, and then being like, oh, let's try that. Let's jam like Hendrix. Let's jam like Led Zeppelin. And all of us play pretty idiosyncratically, you know, that it just never came out being like, oh, it's a Zeppelin copy. It was like, you know, because of all the influences and because of the way we play, it was always like, oh, that's something... That's cool. I didn't even know it was going to sound like that, but that sounds cool, you know? So we were fortunate that kind of from the start had its own sound.
Yes.
Let the sun shine down onto you. Let it shine right through. West wind will blow, sky starts to glow. Let it all go to black and to blue. Let it wash right through. I've been dreaming on your shoreline, on your sea, on the sunshine, on the desert, in between you and me. Seen it all go, nothing to show. Best let that river flow as it will. Nothing here, standing still. Rain in the desert after so long. The drought is gone, the flowers come to bloom to the light of a beautiful moon. I've been dreaming on your image, on the joy that you bring. Yes, that's rain in the desert between all things. I've been dreaming on your image, on the joy that you bring. Yes, that's rain in the desert between all things.
Yeah, man, it was very recently we finished it. It's like anti-tune that it was a gift from a product user I was throwing away. It's like anti-piano.
It's avant-garde. It's cool.
It's prepared. It's prepared piano.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this question. many people that come around this place where you are right now have a dream to become a band and become a musician and tour the world. And this brings me to two questions. First, you have been playing together. Well, you recently rejoined the band, relatively recently, but you have been playing together for 20 years. So, question A: what is the key for that marriage to stay together, if you can find one? And then I'll go to question B.
I mean, I think there's just always a little more to do. You're like, oh, cool, that's this record. I got cool ideas. Let's do this. Or like, oh, wow, this tour we can go to Russia. We can go to South Africa. So that keeps you going. And I think because it's small too. We don't have a band with 6 people or 5 people. So that makes it easy as well.
And the second,
sorry. Also, you said in one interview that the band will exist as long as it's fun, and how to keep it fun for 20 years.
I don't know. Our songs can change, and it's not. I mean, of course, tour gets grueling, and at times it's not. But in general, we enjoy playing music. We enjoy playing music together, and now we can actually go and we can travel, and we can actually get paid. Now it took a while, but we can actually get paid to do that. Mm-hmm. So even in that regard, as a job, it's like, what better job could you have? And creating and writing songs, is. It's what I love to do. It's like what we love to do. We love to play music. So. Given the chance to, you want to keep doing it.
Yeah, and you mean it's possible to make a living in USA playing music like your music?
It's really hard, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's really, really, really difficult because, like he said earlier, it's not like people don't really buy music so much anymore. Really, like Spotify and Pandora or whatever, that they don't really pay royalties, so it's almost like giving it away for free, but. So now that's just sort of like a vehicle for you to be able to like tour. I mean, you have to tour or, license your music, but it's really, really, really difficult. And I think it's even, to be on the level that we are is kind of the exception, and it's probably only because we've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that most people, including myself, have a fantasy which is like, if only I would be in a music market like in the USA, it would be all sweet and easy for me, and I will be able to make my musical living.
We actually, I think we live pretty hard lives in general in America.
Well, it is similar, but I mean, imagine the amount of festivals that you guys have there, and I mean, it's like there are more opportunities. And radio shows and conversations but definitely not easy in any corner of the world.
In LA, there's a lot of opportunities, but there's a million bands,
exactly.
So everyone is in a band, or if they're not, they want to be an actor, or they're working on their screenplay.
It keeps you sharp though, because there's a lot of competition. So it's like I got to be better than everybody else.
And we keep it small. We don't try to do a big tour in a bus. We travel, and usually it's 3 people playing, a sound engineer, and one other guy that's a roadie, a merch guy. So we keep it small, and that makes it like able to afford it, able to do it, and travel and make money.
Yeah, there's a lot of bands we know from like LA though. Like the minute they had like there's a teeny bit of budget, just kind of blow it on the most ridiculous stuff. We gotta have the most expensive tour bus and all these things. Like, man, it's like, how much were you able to pay rent when you were done with this?
It's actually interesting that in a time when capitalism as a force has massified so many things have also went down to more grassroots kind of schemes in order to operate.
It's gone beyond capitalism. It's like serfdom now in the U.S. Like it's like a Rockefeller era. It's everyone's charging everything. So to get anything done, you almost have to be like, okay, there's space here, we can get it, and like we can actually afford it because it's in the middle of nowhere. I don't know.
Is the DIY scene in the U.S. real, existent? I mean, is there something like that? Or?
Yeah. I mean, people are always, even in LA, there's always new warehouses start popping up, people having shows, in
places like this, and, like artist communities.
It's pretty good in LA actually. In New York, in like the late '90s, early 2000s, there was like the whole scene that like I guess like the Yeah would have come out of like that. There was like still like a warehouse scene in New York that's completely gone because there's just like. It's really difficult to be in a band in New York, in my opinion. So I think there's one cool thing about LA is that, you still do have space to do stuff like that.
Yeah. And people are going to emerging shows. I mean, do you feel that unknown bands have a platform to start?
I mean, in LA, there's a million places to play,
Curiosity.
But on any given night, there's like 6 things going on, so it's, I don't know,
It's interesting. It's a double-edged sword. I mean, in the sense that, look at all the opportunities you have, it also dilutes the whole thing to a way that then it's like really hard to focus on absolutely anything whatsoever. Because in a city like Moscow, I mean, you still have, you will never have coinciding, you will have maybe a couple of coinciding gigs that are important and you would like to go, but you can focus on something and kind of follow
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I think if you were like being an emerging band in LA, it's like all about being a part of like bigger parties and things that people would be at anyways, you know, as opposed to going specifically for your show.
Yes.
I think that's kind of like the trick there, because there's a lot of just like warehouse parties and things like that that help bring an audience regardless.
Open the door, open the way, open the gate. Saying the words just right, the hope it takes. Well, I will wait to take you with me to
have some home studio, I heard, where
yeah,
you
just like
made the last album.
Yeah, Steve has a bigger studio. He records more bands than I do.
That was a joke.
Last Dead Meadow record we did at Steve's.
Uh-huh.
And then I have a little studio at my house that I do, more quiet stuff, more my own stuff,
But it's just for you, or you record someone also?
Steve records other people. For me, it's just for me and my friends. I'm not trying to record bands, and it's more just like, or even for Dead Meadow, I'll take it and I'll be like, I'll do guitars at my house, or like I want to do a guitar overdub, and I'll just I can take it home and work on it, or if I go to a big room and I record stuff, a lot of times I'll do vocals back at my house because I have pretty nice mic, so I can just take some more time and don't have to spend the money or the favor, to be at my friends' studios, taking their time doing vocal takes,
All right, because the last record sounds amazing.
Yeah,
it's really fucking amazing. Yeah, you did the whole work. It sounds fucking amazing. Like, by the way, it's good music to jog.
Oh, nice. How slow do you jog?
Stone jog.
16s as well. Like.
Yeah, totally. You have to jog to the light. You just have to.
Yeah, I've been really lately. Like, it's
16 up.
actually like,
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with that one because we kept mixing. We recorded a lot of the ones ourselves, and then we kept mixing with other people, and I felt like we'd always lose something. So now it's great doing it.
If you have it inside your band, this is so awesome.
Yeah. So then we could keep being like, okay, it's almost there, And
The second question I wanted to ask you about this being a band and stuff is like, what is a dream that you have not achieved yet that you would like to achieve, if there is something like that?
I don't know. I think for us, it's always just small things. Like, this song is cool.
Yes.
We got to get this one recorded. At this point,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like, I want to get a good version of this song. So I don't know if there's any grand thing that still being like,
I was gonna make a joke and say like, well, we need to make like A Hard Day's Night, but they already did. They already made the movie. So
we need to play in Pompeii, like, we're playing for the pyramids, like the Grateful Dead. Might as well say that.
Yes,
I should play
like
keys
that,
up.
yeah.
I like your answer a lot. I actually like your answer a lot. That's like in the small things.
Yeah.
You have a dream achieved.
And I feel like that's how we write songs. That's how we record. You're like, oh, that's a cool part. Like, oh, like that's a cool line. And like, oh, that's cool what you're doing. And then you just kind of make all these little decisions. And then at the end, you're like, oh, wow, this is what we made. Like that's cool. Or is it cool? But that's kind of the fun of it,
I feel really, really lucky. I think like in terms of music, right now I get to do. I'm in Russia right now, and
that's something to be grateful for. Yes,
a lot of my friends are like, "That's so insane that you get to do this stuff," and I'm like, "Yeah, it is. I'm really lucky. I'm really fortunate."
But Mark, you left the band sometime, and why did you do it? And what did you do when you left the band? And why did you come back?
It's a compound question.
Time.
Objection.
Time, it's not just time.
I did leave twice and come back. To be honest, the last time was really just personal issues. I had some really serious personal problems I had to deal with. I don't know how else to say it.
You became a lawyer the first time you left.
Yeah, I was a lawyer for a while. I was trying to avoid that. I was a lawyer.
Cool.
Honestly, that was more like, to be honest, like family and societal pressure. I think you had mentioned something about like being a musician. It's not easy because people, they judge it. They think it's like, that's not a real job. That's not a real lifestyle. And especially in America, that's just, pure unbridled capitalism. People don't see the value in that sort of thing. And I kind of buckled under that pressure, But I'm at this point in my life where I'm just like, fuck all that shit. It's all bullshit. It is. It's complete bullshit. And it's just, this is what I want to do.
Because the day when the curtains go down, and that I always think about that eventual potential last second of my life, and where I'm like, you know what, it was great.
You went for it.
It was great. Thank you guys. Like,
if it wasn't, at least you went for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've had it. You guys haven't had any breaks, man. You're nuts.
Oh, it's time for the band.
Just like
I don't know. That's what we do. Like I said, there's always some interesting tour, and then also as stuff
sensitive.
over the years, as there has been possible to actually make somewhat of a living doing it.
Yes.
And then with records, there's always like, oh cool, we start working on little song ideas, and it's like you feel obligated once you have these creative things inside you. I know I do. I'm like, oh man, okay, now, all right, now I'm gonna have to record this. Now I'm gonna have to write.
Yes.
So it just keeps going.
Yes. I had the feeling when I once toured the U.S. with a very famous Russian artist, and I saw a lot of like high tech setups and interesting people who are working in the very professional audio spheres. And when I told them the story of my community from here from Moscow, their mouth was watering.
Yeah.
It was like I was from the side of like, oh, look at all the mechanical, actual physical things that you guys can enjoy here, and also a market. And he was like, look at all these feelings that you experience there. This is something that rings a bell to you, or it's just like, are you surrounded by a community that you feel it's like honest and thriving? And
You know, Dead Metal's funny because I always feel like we never really. There's plenty of musicians and tons of studios, but in terms of any scene, I don't think we're ever really that much a part of it in any city. You know, even in DC, we were kind of a little bit of an outlier, like outside it. I think in LA too. You know, we kind of always just do our own thing in a way.
yeah.
But there is a great scene of, you know, just there's so many studios and it's so easy to play with people and find places to record or borrow gear if you need any kind of thing special.
And people go out of their way to help you out without any monetary.
Well, they're your friends.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. There is a lot of community support with that. I've come across.
I think people have a wrong stereotype. Just like people think like Russian bears and vodka. Like people think Americans selfish. Like it's something outside of the world, selfish and self-centered and focused. And I think that's a super wrong stereotype. Even though, well, what do you think? I mean, you're American.
Well, because we're talking about the same scene, like the Dead Metal Show. We're talking about music. Yeah, I mean, but
A lot of assholes. I mean, most Americans are assals. I'm going to be straight up. Like,
but the
think
people
most
that you
humans
mean,
are,
people at
yeah.
the Dead Metal Show
sure,
are going to be the
yes.
same people.
yeah, exactly.
Back
It's like
nature.
here, like but you know, I mean, like, I don't want to get into it. Everyone's just so stupid and willfully ignorant right now.
Yes,
just not. Everyone's. I don't know what it is. If it's the technology, everyone's just getting dumb.
It's a
from
double-edged sword.
Like, yeah, with the
because-
cell
because
phones. Like nobody
we're-
reads books anymore. or
Information
anything.
is not knowledge, and also informations and feelings are different things.
Yeah.
And I think people are staying in the surface of the headline and just taking the headline, which is totally out of context, and just using that as the opinion. In my estimation.
Yeah, they read it
of
on
things.
a story, a little thing, and then they think they know. Oh my God, you saw that, but that's not a source. That's not
Exactly.
anything. You know, it's crazy.
Exactly. It's interesting to
crazy.
see. I mean, we all pay attention to America because America, whether we like it or not, is the center of the world, and it's interesting to hear from you that these concerns are grounded.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm actually pretty worried about America right now.
Are you
I think-
hopeful about the future, or are you afraid?
You
of it?
know
I'm
that-
afraid.
You know those scenes in like the movie where like the asteroid's about to crash on the planet, and it shows the planet and everyone's dancing, and I like the party. You know, like wow, party before the end.
Yes.
You know, sometimes I feel like that with America. You know, everyone's like, you know, slowly over. You know, that would be a lot slower, but still, that it's like, it's kind of, I don't know, it's fucked.
So you have a feeling of like pre-cataclysm party going on right now.
Or a lot of people are living slowly like that, in that they're like just kind of like, okay, I'm not gonna pay attention to any of these things that are actually important. You know, I'm just gonna worry about this and go get into this DJ night and doing that. You know.
I think I might actually live to see the end of America as we know it right now.
All right.
Actually.
So
Like,
you
I
see
think-
it in the near future, impending. Yeah.
If you had to sum up all of your experience in music into kind of one advice or one idea, what would it be?
Perseverance.
Originality.
I mean,
Steve?
I don't know.
Perseverance and originality.
Perseverance.
I mean, nothing's 100% original, but you know, you take your influences and you try to make them your own. You know, like he was saying, you don't want to be a Led Zeppelin copy. You know, you want to take that and throw it into the mix. You know.
And you only need to change it just so much. Like we said, rock and roll has been rock and roll since it started. It's just how can you just change it just enough that you can feel it again, or the audience can feel it again.
Yeah,
Because the
that's
form
important.
grows a little tired. And you're reaching for the feeling, so you can change it just a little, and be like, oh, okay, cool. Now I feel this. You know.
Yeah, it's in the way sometimes when you do it kind of incorrectly with the copy. It's like that's kind of where you break the new ground. You know, it's like you don't play the right notes for it.
Follow your
Or
mistakes.
it's like, you know, the Beatles trying to, you know, play the blues or something. Like
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like,
Yeah,
what did
actually
it
they
turn
were.
into?
Exactly.
You know, or the Rolling Stones or whatever. It just turned into this other thing. It's like,
We had a conversation earlier about scenes to look into, or things that are interesting in the USA. If you would not be in LA, where would you be? Or maybe you cannot be anywhere else.
I love the West Coast. You know, just mostly for the nature. It's beautiful. I would go north. I would be in I don't know, maybe Northern California, or by the Oregon border.
I like it up there.
Trinidad.
Too. Yeah.
It's a city up there.
But and do you ever consider leaving the USA, or is this not?
Yes.
Yeah.
You do?
I have multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, moved to
I wanted
Mexico.
to move to Australia for a while.
Well,
Didn't happen.
yeah. It's like Australia feels like a huge California. I mean, in terms of weather and stuff. Like I'm joking.
It's I do like Australia a lot, but I love California. I love the West Coast, and it's, I think, in terms of natural beauty in America, like just the landscape is amazing, but also I am more in line with the politics, which are, you know, as people know, it's more left wing.
Yes.
On the West Coast.
Yeah.
And just less. I just feel, you know, you have a lot more freedom there.
I guess my last question would be, because we like to talk a lot about what people are doing wrong, or who is doing something wrong. Who is doing something right, according to you at the moment? Maybe it's a hard question.
I don't know.
I mean, in the world, or for like?
I'm talking about music specifically. For example, there's a band, you may like it or not, there's a band called Autolux that from LA actually, and I got to hear about that band because I heard somebody saying, you know who's doing something right? I really like what these guys are doing. If there is a scene or some people that are active right now that you really respect what they're doing, and that maybe we may not know about, or who would you point towards?
I don't know about any scenes.
Sometimes it's hard to answer questions like that out of the blue.
Yeah. Because I really don't know about scenes going on too. Like I said, I listen to like old blues, or just old jazz. I don't really like. I don't know. Yeah. None of us go out too much, actually.
You go to play. I always tell this to my friends. You want to party with me? Let's play a show. That's the only way I can party. If I play a show, I will party. I'm here to party.
Yeah, this is like. I'm tired, man. Because I'm like a hermit, a lot. I stay home a lot, so like just being it's nice. I'm happy to be on tour, but I'm tired,
Yes.
Out drinking and at bars and stuff every night because you're playing shows.
Meeting strangers every night and hearing languages that you don't.
I like it, and I'm glad for it because, like I said, it's like maybe not the best thing that I never go out,
If I go out, I go to Russia, maybe.
When I go out.
I'm not gonna go to
Moscow.
I'm gonna go to Russia tomorrow. Something to do.
Yeah, awesome. How are you guys?
Okay.
Thank you guys.
I think that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You.
I'm excited to hear all that stuff and see it and hear it.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
No,
thank you for
great
the show
studio.
yesterday.
Great building.
Yeah.
Building's
cool.
amazing.
Nice people. It's been great.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Russia certainly waits you again, and we thank you so much for having been
Thank
with
you,
us.
Russia.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're not so evil as we're painting on the news.
Neither are we. I don't know.
People have that tier here. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think they like America here.